Good morning, travelers. Tara here, Hidden Lotus Tara. Well, we are at the eve of the annular solar eclipse. I had promised some of you over in the Facebook group that I would be bringing you a video yesterday, but was so tired. I just didn't have the energy to do it, and I can't give you, good readings. I can't tune into the energies when I'm tired, so I had to just really kind of take a break. Couple of announcements before I get started about the membership options. For those of you who have purchased membership options, if you have not gotten your Zero Aries chart, please contact me, email me with your details, your full name, date of birth, location of birth, okay, so that I can get your charts to you. Those members who have their chart holders who already have their charts, I really want you guys to come over. I'm going to do away with the Lotus form. I don't like the way that is looking, and it's difficult. You're not being notified when I'm putting up transit watches, and it's difficult to know when was the last post. So what I'm going to do is do away with that particular plugin on the website, and I will just be notifying you guys through post. I think I will move them underneath the Lotus form so that that's where you can find them. For those of you who don't know how it works, basically when I post the degrees and the factors, if you have those factors in your chart, I want you to come over underneath the post, tell me what your challenge is, and list your factors and degrees. And then what I'm going to do is try to give you, in the predictive aspect, what could possibly happen for you. And this is really important because in June, we're going to up the game. We're going to add in the 34 asteroids, okay? So I kind of want to get you guys used to what we're doing, how we're doing it, and so that you can get used to it, so that once we put the asteroids in, okay, you'll already be used to the system and the way that we're doing it. So, anybody who hasn't joined, there are 3 membership options. You can go over to the website and take a look. You're going to get, actually now it's going to be 3 charts you're going to get. 1 you can create there on the website, and 2 you will get from me. Once we move to the asteroids, you're going to be getting a 3rd chart, okay? And it's going to include the points that you have now, plus the 34 asteroids. So there's going to be another primer coming. I was trying to get my moon calendar up, and here it is already March. So I'm going to go ahead and get that up hopefully sometime today. So just start with March. You can write in those dates that you may have transits coming across your chart. That'll kind of, keep it handy so that you can take a look at it. And then you can just come over and say, I've got Jupiter in Libra at 22 degrees, and I've got, Pluto in Pisces at 22 degrees. That's a conjunction. So then you tell me what's going on in your life, what your challenge is, and then based upon those factors, I can kind of tell you what's happening or may happen. It's going to depend on what's happening in your personal story. I will also be posting at some point this week a couple of videos explaining Akashic records and etheric cord cutting. That's going to be underneath the metaphysical gallery. I don't have anything there. And then the monthlies. The monthlies are coming, the individual monthlies. So those are going to be posted under the tarot gallery. So just kind of bear with me. I'm trying to, I had a couple of Akashic records readings. Those things wipe me out. I'm not going to sit here and lie. They completely wipe me out energetically. So just kind of bear with me. Things are coming. Now, for those of you who have not joined the membership, like I was saying, there's 3 options. You can get 30 days for $7, 6 months for $28, and $50 for a full year. And that gives you access to the charts, the astrology, the metaphysics, and the individual monthlies. But today I'm going to be coming to you with a general reading. This is an open reading. We're going to be doing Facebook people. I got a separate video coming for you guys. So y'all are going to get 2 today. This is not for necessarily it's not for any specific sign. And we're not going to kind of give it a time frame either. We are aware that the eclipse is coming up, but the eclipses always conceal, they never reveal. Now, some of you have been emailing me and going, oh my God, it sounds so ominous. Look, astrology is not meant to scare you or frighten you. It's simply another tool just like the tarot. It's a predictive technology, okay? And that's all it is. Depending on what you got going on in your life will depend on whether or not, first, if anything happens, and second of all, how it may happen, and in what area of your life you may be affected. So please don't be afraid of eclipses and things of that. There's nothing to fear, okay, but fear itself. So I have the, what do you call it? These cards? I don't even know the name of them. I've been up early this morning. I was trying to get some work done on the website, and the stinking modem went down. I just got that new modem like 2 days ago. I'm like, really? So I was on the phone with the guy trying to get it fixed. He was really nice. Oh, well, there's the sun has presented itself. And this is the solar eclipse coming up tomorrow. So maybe that's a reference. I don't know. So let me go ahead and shuffle the cards. I do have the angel answer cards and the Sibilas here. And we're just going to see what the cards have to say. This is a general reading, so the messages will not resonate with everyone. Take what you can. Disregard what you cannot. In order to gain any clarity or insight into your own particular personal situation does require a personal reading. If you decide that you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I do ask before you submit any money, before you make a payment, and or that you fill out the booking form, that you please read the important information on booking, because that's going to tell you everything you need to know. What app I use for phones, by readings by phone, what information I need from you. I work a little differently perhaps than most readers. I'm not exactly sure. I don't like to exchange a whole bunch of emails. I like to, you know, get the booking form, get the money, read it, and then do the reading. I don't ask for a lot of information because I want you guys to know that the information I'm giving you is correct. It's not me regurgitating your story back in a different way. So you can still come over to the website and leave comments under the YouTube section. That's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So you can come over and say stuff if that's what you want to do. You see the Empress has presented herself as well. Now, I don't read reverse cards. Those of you new subscribers, welcome. Die-hard subscribers for sticking with me, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So we have both the Sun and the Empress. Now, well, the Sun represents the Sun, and then the Empress represents Venus. Well, we do have a Venus transit going on, and I'm not sure if she has retrograded already. I don't have any of my transits in front of me, so, but if she hasn't, she will be. And if you notice, she did come out reverse. So to me, that is probably an indication that this is these two events kind of coinciding with each other. But also, the Empress represents the archetype of the mother in the tarot. In this card, she's pregnant. Okay, so it speaks to wealth and abundance and fertility, either literally or metaphorically. I'm going to turn her right side up. That is the way she came out of the deck. She came out reversed. And so to me, I don't know what the rest of the story is. So let me lay the rest of the cards. We're going to do 9 cards, and then we're going to get into the reading. Oh, wow. There's Neptune. Isn't that something? Well, this eclipse will be the Sun at 8 degrees Pisces, opposed the Moon at 8 degrees Pisces. Here we have Venus in the center. Well, Venus is not just about love. She's about the wealth, the beauty, the income, the women, the money. But she represents self-value and self-worth. She rules 2 signs. She rules both Taurus. That's the second house of self-possessions, the money you earn on your own, the things that you own, movable possessions, bank accounts, things of that nature. But she also rules the house, the 7th house of Libra. And that is about the partnerships and the relationships, romantic, business, friendships. Well, actually, friendships fall in the 11th house. So this is going to be partnerships, business partnerships, romantic relationships, and those one-to-one relationships that you have. And that is about the things that That's about sharing, okay? Now, the money aspect of sharing within a relationship falls in the 8th house. So, that is the house opposite the 2nd house. Also, the sun represents the 1st house, the house of self, the house of ego. It's the self box. You know, my appearance, my profile, my reputation, how I present myself to other people, my appearance, the way I look physically, how other people see me, that is ruled by the sun. Then we have the Hangsman, who rules Neptune, who is represents the planet Neptune, who is ruled by Pisces. That represents the 12th house. That's the house of the unseen, or the house of self-undoing. That's about things that you don't show to other people. It is the psychological house. It is about selflessness and martyrdom and giving and sharing, but on a more broader universal scale. He is the higher octave, Neptune, of Venus. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm going to be starting my classes here. I'll tell you what, I've been so busy that had to go by the wayside. So this is interesting, these first 3 cards, and they're all major arcana. So for those of you who don't know anything about the tarot, the deck is divided into 2 separate groups. We have what are known as the major arcana. Those are the people, places, and the powers. Well, actually, the powers and the people. And then we have the minor arcana, which are, or the pip cards, which are our numbered cards, starting from 1 with the aces going up to 10. Okay. Major arcana cards hold more weight than the pip cards. The pip cards also include the court cards, which are going to be our pages, our knights, our queens, and our kings. Okay. But major arcana take more weight. So let's lay the rest of the cards. Well, there's Aries. Right now we have Mars in Aries and Uranus in Aries, and they're about to come conjunct on the 28th. Here we have a Queen of Pentacles, a Page of Wands, 7 of Wands, 9 of Swords, 8 of Cups. Well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Because really we have the 7, the 8, and the 9. So it is what is missing that is most interesting, which is pretty much everything else. What's underneath the deck? 4 of Cups. Wow. Well, in one respect, I have these 2 4s. The Emperor represents a 4, okay? This 4 of Cups is not in the spread. It is the overall energy. But in using the numerology, 2 4s typically mean a move of some sort, either literally or, again, metaphorically. But typically it does represent a, at least, if nothing else, it is a change in zip code. It could be just moving from, you know, one place to another in the same town or state. Which is funny because I don't really see any movement except the outgoing energy here. Now, what is most interesting is that this is the only eclipsed moon card in the deck, this 8 of Cups. And it also represents the energy of Saturn in Pisces. And Saturn in Pisces can struggle with issues of finances. Here we have this Queen of Pentacles here. Can be someone who doesn't give a whole lot of thought to money, or is not able to save very, very well, or just money's not important. There is not, but it can also be someone who can have a very, very giving nature, okay, and can tend to give away things. So it's not always about wealth is many, many things. And poverty can extend across many different areas. Poverty is not just, I don't have enough money. You can be emotionally impoverished. You can be mentally impoverished. You can be spiritually impoverished. And I have these big major arcana cards here. If this is not about an earth sign female, and this is going to apply whether this is male or female, okay? Right now, the energy is just a feminine energy. And for a male, this is going to just represent perhaps a softening of the way you may be approaching things, being a bit more receptive or more open to things. And it appears that there's some kind of fear or some kind of, and I do say it is a fear. We have the Empress who has presented herself upside down above this Queen of Pentacles. And underneath the base of this Queen of Pentacles, we have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is the card of nightmares, worry, fear, and anxiety. It represents the energy of Mars in Leo, I think. No, Mars in Gemini. I'm sorry. And that is sort of like the windmills of your mind. You're thinking, you're thinking, you're thinking, you're thinking, you're thinking. And you're actually making the situation worse because you're just thinking about stuff. You're worried about something. This is quite interesting, a quite interesting spread here. Now, here I have the Seven of Wands, and sevens represent an internal struggle. So this is some kind of, that represents Mars in Leo. Oh, wow. This represents the time frame of August 12th through the 22nd. And the major eclipse that you want to watch for this year in 2017 is going to be the one on August 21st. That is going to be the major biggie for 2017. So this might be some kind of time frame here. If I could give you exact timing in the tarot, I would just teach y'all how to do that. I make classes and do that. I wouldn't read cards. I just teach people how to do the timing. There is no timing within the tarot. It is all based upon divine timing, and it is also based upon the circumstances under which, whatever you're dealing with. What I find also curious about this particular spread is that we lead off with these four altogether major arcana, and then it falls into these pip cards. And the pip cards represent the mundane level. The major arcana represent spiritual lessons and challenges to help us grow on an evolutionary level, to change our lives on the physical, but through situations and people that give us a higher lesson. Okay. For some of you, I feel that you perhaps have been waiting on something. The Hanged Man is all about this. It's the wait card. Okay. This card represents viewing things from a different perspective. It is about waiting for something to happen or waiting on the results of something to come in. And because it represents Neptune, Neptune rules the seas. And what do we know about the seas? Well, there's fog, there's spray, there's mist, there's high waves. So sometimes we can't see our way clearly, or we're not exactly sure in which direction that we're sailing in. And we're kind of rudderless, and we don't know exactly what it is we're supposed to do. So instead of us perhaps doing something, which could end up making the situation worse, perhaps what we need to do is do nothing and kind of take in whatever it is that we concentrate and focus, meditate, pray, whatever it is that you need to do, and ask for a bit of quote unquote guidance as you move through this time frame. But some of you are definitely waiting on something, and this to me is like a pause. I say that because fours represent stagnation and stagnation. That means that the situation is stable. For some of you, indeed, it could be a situation where nothing is happening. You don't see anything happening. And maybe this does have to do with your finances, okay? I don't know. What's interesting is that this is a couple. That represents the mother. This represents the father, okay? but she has presented herself upside down. All right. Now, the Emperor is the guy who, in his positive aspects, he can represent someone who's in the military or has to do with marshal services, so police officer, something like that. But he's also a guy who can be a great mentor and a teacher, gives good advice. He became an emperor. To me, an emperor is higher than a king. He became the emperor because he is someone who is able to successfully incorporate his will and his intention, but also to do it in a manner where he will sometimes not allow his emotions to dictate what it is he should do. You don't become the emperor by being nice to everybody, okay, or giving away everything. But then again, you don't become a beloved emperor if you're mean and nasty to people. So I don't know if this is, I'm not sure exactly yet if this is an energy or if this is a person. But to me, it really reads as though something is going to come through with this eclipse for you. Now, look, a lot of you with the charts have been emailing me. Well, don't expect things to happen right on the eclipse. For some of you, that may occur. It really may. It depends on what you have going on in your life and whether or not it's the divine timing for something to occur for you on that day. But what you need to know most about the eclipse is that it can take up to 6 months to a year to see what the effects are of that, whatever changes in your life. And that's what eclipses are designed to do. They are designed to eclipse people and places and situations out of your life that are no longer serving the highest good for you. Okay. And so if you're not willing sometimes to make that move to do whatever it is that you need to do, then the universe will come in and do it for you. So that means that sometimes stuff don't happen the way you would hope it would. But know that if something ends on the eclipse or around the eclipse, 3 days before, 3 days after, you can pretty much consider that crap final. And if you choose to try to go back to it, you won't get that opportunity until 6 months from that eclipse. Okay. But if this is about a breakup of a relationship, whether this is a business relationship, whether this is a personal relationship, even a familial relationship, because I'm looking at this baby, she's pregnant, I'm looking at the mom and the dad. So this could even be about some kind of familial issue. Know that if it ends around this time that it was supposed to end, whatever the situation is, but that you may get a chance to revisit it 6 months from now. But for the most part, if it ended on this eclipse 3 days before, 3 days after, don't cry about it. Just accept it and try to move on, because there's really nothing you can do at this time frame. Why? Because there's something about the situation, the person, the place that you don't know. All right. So don't beg anybody to take you back or this, that, and the other. Instead, try to work on yourself. Now, I can see here we have this Page of Wands who follows this Queen of Pentacles. Pages bring news. They bring news and they bring messages. For some of you, wands traditionally will represent a work and the work endeavor. I kind of equate the wands with emotions, because the wands is a fire energy and it is all about that spark and that desire and that drive that you have. That's your fighting spirit. And I think that for some of you, some news perhaps has come in. Sometimes the Emperor can represent a boss. Whatever the news is, it's kind of gotten you a little, you're very conflicted about it. Now, I think for some of you, there's an implication that for some of you, this news has come or will be coming quite suddenly. And the reason why I say that guy's got on 2 different shoes. He's got on a tall boot and a short shoe. So to me, that's kind of like an indication of where somebody had to jump up in a hurry and do something. Didn't even, bother to look. Let me just put some damn shoes on my feet and go. Okay. And as you can see, he's standing over this stream, like in a protect. Now, the water represents emotions. Okay. So he's standing over this stream and he's beating back these 6 things that have popped up from wherever. For some of you, this could literally be just things popping up at you from your subconscious. Okay. things that you've done, things that you want to do. It's 6 wands. So this tells me that there is some kind of victory or something that you have accomplished. Maybe it's just simply a milestone. You have come through a particular test or trial right now. Well, now that we're on the other side, guess what? We got to go back to work, and, you know, we got to keep working. Why? Because we got to get up to the 10. But I think some of you are afraid that maybe perhaps whatever this thing is you feel like you have to defend, because this is about sometimes you have to be aggressive with people to do what you want to do in order to, if you've got a goal or a vision, sometimes you have to be aggressive or be defiant and go against what people say or what people expect you to do. And it looks as though some of you might be kind of worried about either a loss in doing that, of having to leave something behind. But know that if you, again, what the card is saying is, if this occurs around the eclipse, you know, these 8 things, and the cups simply represent emotion. So to me, this is about something that you, maybe it represents for you, maybe 8 months you've been focused on something, because the cups represent months. So maybe for 8 months you've been working or toiling away on something, and then suddenly now you kind of realize that this ain't even really what I want, or it's not giving me the emotional satisfaction that I need. It's not nurturing me in the manner that I want, or that I really need or desire. So you walk off and you go in search of something that will. I see this card sometimes show up when this is about some kind of spiritual crisis that has come up, a test or a question. Maybe you're going through something and you don't quite understand what the purpose of it is. Okay. What always strikes me about this card is that the person, they walk away in the middle of the night underneath an eclipsed moon. Now, the moon that's coming up, the eclipse this week, is a new moon. So that means the moon is dark. There will be no moon in the sky. Okay. And the moon, whenever there's an eclipse, the moon always opposes the sun. All right. That's the way it works. We have that same message here. Okay. Neptune rules Pisces. Actually, Cancer rules the moon, but we equate the moon in a sense with Neptune because the moon also rules the seas. There are tides that come, and they are affected by the moon. So it's kind of like a double repeat of the message here. This card can be about receiving psychic messages, or your intuition being tapped. You're getting a message. Why? Because you've been taking the time out to listen to whatever is coming through for you, and you will make the decision to leave this behind, whatever this is. I'm going to pull Sabila's on this. For some of you, I think that it may be someone departing your life under this eclipse. Someone perhaps that was a very strong support system in your life, because we see the knighting, the Hanged Man, the Emperor, and then the 8 of Cups. Someone departing. I think for some of you, the light has fun. That's what the sun does. It shines the light. It reveals things to you that you now have the news that you need, you know, to do whatever it is you need to do. But for some reason, you are still conflicted by that. And, well, you know, everybody's different. Now, the overall energy is this 4 of Cups. So, again, it's a 4. But what we're looking at is we're looking at half of 8. Okay? We see someone walking away from these 8 cups. And then we find someone sitting under the tree contemplating 4 cups. They have 3 cups. In other words, the body language is that this is enough for me. And so whatever is now being offered to them, either they don't are not in a position to accept it now, or there's something about it they don't trust, or it's something about it that doesn't excite them. Okay? stagnant. And the diagonal here, this Queen of Pentacles who is focused on this coin. Here is the Hanged Man. This is a transit, a Neptune transit. Excuse me. And waiting and trying to understand what or why, as I was saying, and still being conflicted about it. I think that this line speaks to someone who's doing something, and maybe they're not clear on what they're doing or how they're doing it. How is that going to play out for me? Which could be why we have this Nine of Swords and this Eight of Cups. It's like someone abandoning something. What's interesting though is that this is the past row column. Past, present, future, past, present, and future. So this is the future row. And what's interesting is this bottom row, it's Wands, Swords, and then Cups. So the Wands really represent the fighting spirit of doing something. The Swords represent the thoughts about whatever this thing is, or the communication, ideas, perceptions, beliefs. And then the Cups represent the emotional component. So this is looks to be some kind of thing that will span across. It is going to perhaps change or alter your desire, the way you feel about it, and most definitely the way you either think about it, speak about it. Most definitely. And it goes from 4 of these major arcana, and then we move directly into pip cards. So to me, these 4 major arcana that lead the spread off, this is a cycle that's about to end. And as we know, change is scary. It is easier for us to stay within our comfort zone, even when we know that crap sucks. And so this is what I mean when I say sometimes the universe will come in and change things for you. So what it looks like is some end of a cycle coming for someone. This could be in terms of monetary. Look, maybe this is you got offered a job, a position at work, and you start to think, man, there ain't even enough money for me to put up with that crap, and you leave. Sometimes, not all money is good money. Don't think because you pay me for a reading that I'm going to read for you. I may not. I don't always read for everybody who pays me for a reading. If I don't like the energies coming off, I will refund your money. So not all money is good money. So, it could be one of those situations. Or it could be that you're kind of on the fence about what you should do. Definitely, there's some component here of finances and self-worth. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is about, I can't ignore the fact that I have the mom, the dad, the baby, and she's pregnant. I'm not necessarily saying that there are 3 people in this situation, like it's a triangle situation, although I can't rule it out. And the reason why I say that is we have Jupiter in Libra, and Jupiter in Libra brings all kinds of affairs and all kinds of dual relationships. Sometimes it'll bring double acts, people showing back up from your past, trying to get back with you. You hadn't seen them in 20 years. Let's pull Sibilis on this. This is quite interesting to me. The first thing I want to look at, this is definitely eclipse energy. I don't know how other readers read their cards. I have always tried to incorporate a little bit of astrology. I know that I think Marie Moore does the same, but we have 2 different styles of reading cards. So for me, always planetary transits have stood out. They always just pop out at me like that. But what's interesting is when I went into my own Akashic records, you know, in one of my past lives, I was a researcher assistant to an astronomer, astrologer. And I know even as a kid, I've always been fascinated by astrology and the stars, you know, always. So those are the kinds of things you can find out in your Akashic records. But so typically when things like that occur, it is a gift that you bring over from a past life. Like some people can hear a song one time and play it. That's a gift that comes with them from their past life. So apparently this is one of my gifts that have come, and talking, because my North Node is in Gemini. And my South Node is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is one of those signs where you can have a different kind of far out philosophy, or not. It can be based on religion. It could be based on astrology. It could be based on whatever. So those are the gifts that I have brought over with me from my past life. So I always see the transits in the cards. I think somebody had mentioned that to me months ago. They go, wow, nobody talks about the transits better than you do. You really have them point on. And it never occurred to me that that's what I was doing. It just, you know, I was just talking about what I see. This Saturn in Pisces. And maybe this is shining a light, because Saturn is about restrictions. It is about limitations. You have two of these kind of not yet moment kind of a cards here. But Saturn is also the teacher. He is, you know, the Lord of Karma, the father of time. And what he wants you to do is he will give you very, very tough tests and trials. But if you can stick it out, and not allow the fear, okay, and the worry and the anxiety to kind of keep you in place, because fear is a real bastard, then you know, you're going to come out on the other side much more mature, much more experienced. You're going to know a lot more. And so everybody's like, oh God, you know, Saturn is, he could be a real bastard. But I tell you what, Neptune, because he brings all kinds of things you can't see clearly. You don't know if what you feel is what you feel, or if it's something that somebody else is feeling. Are you taking on other people's stuff? Does a person have drug or alcohol addictions? Does the person have a hidden gambling problem? Because that's what Neptune and the 12th house rule. They rule addictions. Okay. So that's why it's important for you guys to come over with your charts. And tell me what's happening for you. This Venus in the center, this Empress reversed. That's the first card I'm going to pull on, because I'm trying to her crown represents the this is a powers. So this is something that rules everything. This is something that you have no control over. But in a subtle way, we don't have any control over the ocean. And we have no control over the moon. All right, let's, to me, this is reading like the moon card. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't come out, but let's look at this upside down Empress. Now, in her negative aspects, she can be someone who is very, very manipulative and very controlling, smother love kind of a thing, okay? So this could be someone who might be coming to grips in some way, shape, or form with some type of feminine figure who is like this. restrained. Someone has not been able to come out from under, let's say, the shadow of this person. See, the sun is shining light. She's upside down. The shadow of this person. Literally, this is the shadow side, upside down, of this card. We have alegría, which is happiness or fun with family and friends. And then we have the card of the lechereza. Now, the lechereza represents the person's sensitivity or their tact. It could represent someone being very irritable. Maybe this individual is making this, they have been restraining this person, maybe kind of keeping them in right around in this little small area here of family and friends, and has been perhaps the person's getting kind of tired of that right now. Now, if this is, this could also be someone keeping you from doing what you need to do. But oddly enough, it is, I cannot ignore the fact that it has to do with beauty, wealth, women, money, income, self-worth, self-esteem, self-possessions. Because truly, if you're dealing with somebody like that, you know, and they're smothering you, or they're very domineering, or they're meddling all the time, that can have an effect really on all areas of your life. That's no lie. This is an odd spread. It's an odd spread to me. This is a 5. If I'm going to add the two numbers together, this is going to be a 5. The 1 and the 4 is a 5. So that speaks to a definite change, an illumination over some kind of change, over perhaps issues of power and control. He's the Emperor. Let's take a look at, I want to look at this Hanged Man. Let's see here. They're both upside down, and both of their coronas are lit. His is lit, but hers is backlit. See the glow around her? Maybe someone is having vision issues here. The sun represents being able to see things clearly. Their heads are, maybe there's a problem with their vision, or maybe they're having headaches that are causing their vision to blur, or something. It's a definite change of something. And it reads like an ending in one respect, but not an ending in the way that we think of an ending. I can't really explain to you the feeling that's coming off the cards. The Hanged Man. Now, look, the one thing you need to know most about the Hanged Man is that he put himself on that cross, okay? So you could be dealing with someone who has martyrdom issues. Maybe this upside down mom. Oh my God, all the things I've done for you. I gave birth to you, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Because, but that person has placed themselves there. And they're supposed to be there so that they can view things from a different perspective. In other words, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, okay? What we see here is the dispiacere, the worry, the tears, on top of this hangman. L'amica, the relationship of trust, the confidant, the friend that you can talk to or confide in. And the gran consolazione, success and achievement after a long time. Now, what's interesting about Neptune and the Hanged Man, and also this, it speaks to losses, okay? Remember, that's the 12th house, and that's the house of losses, death, undoing. So in one respect, it kind of reads like maybe someone has lost a significant relationship due to this individual, who may be the mother, who may not be the mother, your mother. Maybe this might be the mother of your children. It could even be someone who gets attention by being ill all the time. You know those people. Let's take a look at this Nine of Swords here. Whatever this is, I don't understand why this queen is sitting in the center of this. She's like kind of out of place in one respect. I mean, just in the feel of the cards, it's almost as if everything else is talking around her and she's not even there. That's really how it feels. So let's take her out just for the time being. It's like she's there in the photo, in the story, but she's not in the story. Being obscured over this, around this eclipse. Isn't this funny? The precious presence. A gift not unselfish. The male lover, the amante. Now, whether this is same-sex or heterosexual, this speaks to requited love. Okay, not unrequited love. Now, Venus can go either way in retrograde. But then here we have the desperate jealousy, an excessive attachment to something. But it can also read like fear, or it can read like someone who can't forget something. I think that's quite plain. Let's look at this Four of Cups here. Actually, I'm going to pull on the 8 and the 4. See, now that I have removed this queen, the cards are speaking much more clearly. So there's some kind of thing surrounding this earth sign individual where there's a lot of, I don't know, confusion or hesitancy, problems with asserting oneself. See, he decides to, he thinks about it and then he decides to walk away from it. But he's the emperor. He doesn't need to walk away from shit. Huh? He's the emperor. He runs the show. That's interesting. I think the key lies with this upside down Empress. And what's interesting is her view. If we're to look at the two cards, the Sun and the Empress together, she's actually looking at this kid upside down. So she's really not seeing this kid in the right light. It's the Sun. But this kid also has a banner. There's an announcement. There's something that this kid has to say, wants to say, is trying to bring to the attention. Now, we're not necessarily saying that this is a child. This could be speaking about something that goes back to your childhood. Remember, we're dealing with eclipses. Things coming up from childhood that affects you now. And I don't care what anybody tells you. People are like, oh, it's so dysfunctional. Every damn body got dysfunctional moments. Everybody does. That shit is normal. Okay? It's the normal that's not normal. So buying into the fact that, oh, that's not normal, okay, is really a deception. Because what's normal for you may not be normal for me, but that don't make it dysfunctional. It just means that, if your normal don't work for me, I ain't got to deal with your normal. Okay? If that works for you, then hey. So, I think we are raised with that beaver cleaver. Some of y'all are too young to know that, but that white picket fence and all of that crap, and everybody's perfect and everybody looks well and there's no fights and everybody talks to each other. That's not reality. Why? Because we all come in to this incarnation with things not only from our childhood, but things from past lives. Okay? Sometimes deep-seated fears that come from our past lives. And we can't figure out why it is we always react to things that way. Or why is it things always seem to happen to me that way? Past life issues. Okay? I just did a Akashic Records reading for someone, a client yesterday, and she was really concerned that she had a soulmate contract with this particular person. And I went in and she doesn't have a soulmate contract, but what she's doing now is based upon something that did occur for her in a past life, is she's creating karma with this person in this lifetime. That's how it works. It's not always about someone. You may not always have that kind of connection with someone, okay? But because of something that comes from your past life, it can create a whole bunch of problems for you. 8, the letter. Wow. I was not expecting to see that card. There's the news. Remember? Different messages coming in. Ah, that's what that's saying. It's different messages coming in. That's what that's about. Hold it. That's a different kind of message coming in from this one. So it's confusion over scattered news or confusing news or half the story, or thinking you heard one thing or saw one thing and it really is another. Isn't that interesting? But these two cards imply that the two people, or that there's some kind of understanding. No matter how it appears, there's really some kind of why? She's the confidant. She's the friend. Oh. Let me just lay the rest of these cards. Are funny today. Well. Isn't that something? Here we have a card that kind of talks about walking away from something that, just ain't doing it for you anymore, right? Leaving in the middle of the damn night. I'm out of here. The letter. The allegrezza al cuore. This is happiness of the heart. Not to be confused with happiness with family and friends. This is about self-happiness, okay? Happiness of the heart. and the Dona Maritata. Now, she is the married woman or the woman with children or the nurturing kind of a person. Well, here we have somebody walking away because they're no longer feeling nurtured in one respect. But their news is coming around this eclipse that's going to make someone very happy. Now, we saw perhaps if maybe this emperor walked away. And if that is the case, he will be walking into something very positive. Now, what's interesting is I have, again, the mom card here, but the mom card upside down here. Let's look at this Four of Cups. And maybe this is the person is not sure. There's a hesitancy. Four of Cups. And now if I put that Queen, this earth sign individual, maybe this is somebody who just themselves walk with, like, whatever this is, somebody's like, I'm not doing it. You see, she's after this, she's faced him. See? She's faced him. She's blocking him. He's the emperor, and she's blocking him. Because everything else on the mundane level comes after her. And she's holding on to that particular coin. Okay? She's holding on to it. And she's intently focused on it. But in effect, it's kind of her positioning in the spread is she is blocking this person. And I don't think she's doing it necessarily in a deceitful way. Very well could. This Empress is upside down. But I think this worries her, whatever this is. Maybe this person themselves feels that they will not, that there's another person or another energy there that's actually creating problems. You see, the person's worried. We're looking at the gifts. Here she's holding the coin. Here's the guy looking at that. He's, requited love. But for whatever reason, I don't know, he's fearful or what have you. So she says, well, fuck it. I'm just going to go on and do. And she just perseveres and does what she's going to do. And I don't even think she kind of knows what she's doing. But she knows that whatever this is, it doesn't hold water for her. So I don't know if this is, it's really kind of confusing here. Let's pull on this Four of Cups, and then we're going to sum this up with an angel answer card. For those of you that this did not answer the question, I don't even know what the damn situation is, to be honest with you. These cards, man, oh man. I have been so busy with other stuff. I have missed reading cards for y'all. I missed that. Okay, let's, they never cease to amaze me. Wow. There's a lot of fire in this. The Sun, Aries, here's a fire, here's a fire. Then we've got these two earths and these two waters. But what's interesting is Saturn is an earth sign, Pisces is a water sign. That's like mud. And maybe that's why this person has to walk away. It's just like, it's stuck. I can't trudge through the mud no more. Okay. It's mixing of two different energies there. Mars and Leo is all about fire and fire. Four of Cups. And this represents the moon in Cancer. And the moon is in its natural house in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer rules mothers, mothering, step-parenting, godmothers, aunts. It rules the people and the places that hold you. It talks about your heritage, where you come from. It goes back across the maternal line. What do you need to feel loved and nurtured? How do you love and nurture other people? Well, here we have an upside down mom, and then we got another mom here. I don't know. Well, great foresight and planning. See, she's looking ahead. What is she looking at? She's looking at a marriage or a commitment. This is really the marriage card. There is no other way to describe this card in the Sibila. But it also speaks to the highly spiritual nature of a couple, okay? It is about contracts. It is about bonds. And there's the Amalato, the sick person. This is some kind of pause on this particular situation. And I'm getting two messages from this, that one person perhaps wants to make an offer but is hesitant to do so. This person is waiting on that offer and it has not come in. It's timing. There's something off with the timing here. But it's this last three cards on top of this Eight of Cups. It's almost like it's saying, you know, have the courage to walk through. See, this is the overall energy. This is not the end of it. This is the overall energy. This tells me that it's someone who is either doesn't think that their offer is going to be good enough, or they're not too excited about making that offer, okay, or accepting the offer. They're not sure about it. They don't trust it. How is it going to fit in? So the person is waiting, though. That's what the overall energy. This tells me that, I don't know what it tells me. I just have somebody walking away. But then news comes, happiness of the heart, and then the Donna Maritata. That is just such a strange spread. So let's pull these up. I'm about done. I'm about to make my head hurt. Again, that's a general reading. Not all the messages are going to apply to you. If you know, that requires a personal reading to look specifically at your situation. You want to come over and comment, you can go to the website, go to YouTube comments. It don't cost nothing. You can go over and say something if you want. I just turned the comments off underneath the video because I'm sick of people coming under bashing free shit. Okay? You don't like the way I read, there's 1,000 more readers on YouTube. Find somebody else. It's free. Therefore, you get what you pay for. Okay. Ooh, Lord, I'm talking too much smack this morning. I'm hungry. My Mars is starting to show. That's what that is. Okay. So, formulate a question in your mind. If that spread did not answer anything for you and you really needed an answer on something that spread didn't even touch on, maybe the angel answer cards will give you an answer, perhaps provide you some comfort and solace if that's what you need, and can perhaps point you in a direction either that you should or should not go in. Okay? Remember, it's choices. Here we go. One card. This card's been coming up a lot. Within the next few months. Well, I think that's kind of apt, being that we're dealing with eclipse energy. So, you know, take it easy. You can, if you are a member, and even if you pay for the 30 days, $7, you still have access to everything on the site, all right? All of the articles, the videos, all of that stuff. If after 7 days you don't like it, then you don't have to renew. The 6-month recurring is 28 bucks. It is recurring, as is the $50. Please, chart holders, come on over, bring your charts and, post up some stuff. I'm going to get the rest of those transit watches up today. I'm going to do actually for the whole year of 2017. Okay. So there you have it. I hope this message helped. And until next time, namaste.